So Mark, if you were to do that today, if Mark Kudre was graduating college today and he was going to try to bootstrap and do this,
And what would the business be
what
named?
were the
So Mark's
what,
t-shirts.
no, but I'm serious
Kudre's
because
tees.
in the tech world, right? Like Bruce and I experience a lot of fast growth startups that can scale on Twitter and they play this game and whatever. What would you do today? Because I think the things that you did back then versus what actually has to happen today are probably a little bit different, and we can just acknowledge
there's
that.
No question. The markets have evolved.
What would you have to do today to go from 200 grand to 4.5 million in 18 months without outside funding in 2024?
Well, first of all, I would have to have a product that had enough margin in order to be able to grow and do that. And I would look at a market that was going to consume the product and had a big distribution channel for that product. So if I produce 10,000 shirts or 100,000 shirts, how are they going to distribute that? How are they going to get it out into that market? So I would look at, if I was in a local business, I would look at businesses that are regional franchises. So in California, there's a regional pizza company called Me and Ed's. There's another one that's really famous, and my brother has a screen printing company, and for years he did the printing for them. It's a little hamburger company called In-N-Out. Well, he was doing 1 million shirts a year for In-N-Out. Now that's way different scale at this point. They've blown up since those years. But that was a regional franchise. So you start small in a regional area, and then you move out into the regional subsidiaries and you start providing them. So start thinking in terms of consumption. So in terms of
Mark,
consumption
who are you going after? So I want to go get In-N-Out. Who am I going after and how?
Their marketing team. Yeah. Who are they? Who are you specifically going to?
I would look at the local one first, and I would develop a relationship with the local manager. The local manager, because they pay their local managers 6 figures plus to run an In-N-Out because it's such a well-run organization. So I would develop a relationship at the local level. I would show up and develop that know, like, and trust connection. And then from that, I would say, okay, who is the next step up that I would need to talk to about, becoming a provider for you? And I wouldn't look, if they're already doing a major shirt program, you've got to displace the current provider. That's a problem. What I would say is use that as an example to gain influence. So if you know that In-N-Out's doing shirts and they've got them for sale at every In-N-Out location, you would say, okay,
what else?
What's the problem with this vendor? What's this like to sell and get intel from inside, not trying to sell them, but get the intel and use that to duplicate a smaller organization.
Right. Or try to find a different niche. Sometimes you have to find the what else or what could you do differently.
Sure.
Like maybe you have to talk to the In-N-Out manager and be like, hey, how cool would it be if we did a live print day here at the store? And you let me bring a heat press and we did it for customers. You have to figure out what your hook is and you're in. And I think a lot of the jumps that we've made in business, our first NIL store was actually built for the student section, right? And then it was an official online store that did things. And then we were able to add athletes. But if we didn't start with the student section first, we would have never gotten there, right? And so you have to dig your teeth in and get kind of creative. Maybe they don't do shirts, or maybe they do shirts, they don't do hats, or maybe they don't do chef coats, right? Like you have to figure out what your hook or your in is, and it's probably not going to be traditional. I think it's probably going to be pretty weird more often than not. Would you agree?
Yeah. And I think that the key thing here is that when you're just getting started, think of yourself as going through school. You start in first grade, in elementary school, kindergarten, whatever it is. And then you go to middle school, then you go to high school. If you're the very best 6th grade basketball player, you're not going to want to do a pickup game with the local high school varsity team. And this is what I see people doing is they're playing small and they try and do a pickup game at a level that they're not capable of playing at yet. The sophistication level. If you think about how your business has grown over the time that we've known each other, In the beginning, it was just another local college serving a local college market. And now you've grown way beyond that as you've gotten familiar with the business, as you see the opportunities, as you start playing with bigger players that are thinking beyond just t-shirts, that are thinking business in general. You're expanding your skill set way beyond just doing the service that you're after. Every business, every thought, every market, every political evolution, anything follows 4 stages: invention, extension, evolution, and demise. Invention is the idea. Extension are all the things that you need to support that idea. Evolution is the next variation or version of the basic idea or the basic invention, and demise is the end of life cycle. So right now, what I see with DTF and screen printing is I see evolution of the process of decorated apparel, and I see the demise of screen printing as we've traditionally known it. It'll still always be there, but we can go and we can look at what happened to the graphic screen printing business in posters and banners in the 2000s when wide format came in. The same thing is happening in our industry now. Digital has entered our space and has brought the cost of the unit down and the cost of a unit of 1 down. And now that serves the smaller end and makes screen printing uneconomical.